There once was a man named Gold Roger who was king of the pirates. He had fame, power, and wealth beyond your wildest dreams. Before they hung him from the gallows, these were the final words he said.
Our perspective is yours for the taking, but you'll have to join us first. We left everything we debated at the Yonkō Table.
Ever since, pirates from all over the world set sail for the Grand Line, searching for the Yonkō Table, the table that will make their dreams come true.
Yo, folks. Welcome to the latest and the greatest from the Yonkō Table. That's the voice of GrandMasterHoop coming from the backs of a great eagle, because we're flying back into Middle Earth for Lord of the Rings, the Rings of Power. That's right, folks. We're back to cover episode 3 of the new hit Amazon Prime series that is bringing us back into the world of the rings and hobbits and wizards and yada yada. It's everything. So we're back for episode 3. With me, as always, is DrJaceAttorney. DrJaceAttorney, are the beacons of Minas Tirith lit? Is your beacons lit for Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power still?
Cast the ring into the fire. Is that the line?
What the?
I'm invested. I like it. It's fun. You know, you come off of Game of Thrones. That's like, you know, very serious, very morbid sometimes. And it's sometimes nice to have a good pizza, a good New York style pizza. I feel like that's what Rings of Power is doing for me. It's just fun to watch. I like seeing the different cities and kingdoms and different species interacting with each other. I didn't think I needed to see orcs again in my life, and then bam, here they are. Now I love seeing orcs again. Orcs are great. But yeah, I'm still here for it. 3 episodes in. Rings of Power is fun to watch. I'm still liking it.
I think I can get on the fun train. I'm invested. I don't know if I'm won over, but by like story, but like aesthetics and everything are amazing, and that is winning me over currently. So I feel you. We are not alone, however. We have a brandy book and a took. Let's hear which supernovas have stowed away in Gandalf's wagon to steal fireworks today. All right, let's get into it. That was a stretch. I tried my best to keep it in the mythos. All right, episode 3. I mean, we talked about it last week as far as, you know, multiple storylines going on. So you're gonna have to really pay attention. Will they ever converge? We don't know, but I think we're getting some more breadcrumbs as far as what is kind of the big thing we're building to, and it's well paced. Well, I'll tell you what. One thing watching Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power, it just reveals how much little I know about kind of the greater world of Middle Earth. Like, I know anything presented in the movies, but everything else is kind of lost to me. So as a prequel series, I think it's really cool when we get to see more of the world. And, you know, we talked a little bit before we started recording as far as what some lands might turn into, why some folks got some land, you know, the relationships between the species in Middle Earth. All in all, it's fun to watch, and it's fun to peel back those shrouds and learn more about the world. So yeah, I'm here for it. Goodness, let's just start off with Galadriel again. I guess she's kind of our girl who we're following. So we learn who she got picked up by. Okay, all right, this is where you got to know your stuff. And I'm like, okay, wait a minute, I know that. Okay, she gets picked up by Elendil. Her and
Who is
Halbrand.
that?
Okay. So, get this. Okay, shut up, Siri.
Oh, was she gonna respond?
She was gonna respond. She said she's not sure. So her and Halbrand, you know, we're off at sea. and they get saved by Silhouette. Now we learn who that Silhouette is. That is Elendil. And okay, what do y'all know Elendil, Dr. Jace?
Actually, I did. Elendil is go on, finish my sentence. Elendil.
So you don't know. I mean, I didn't know his name. I didn't know his name.
I think once they
I didn't know his name either.
Yeah. Once they said that stuff at the end, I don't know if we're jumping towards the end, right? The reveal, or
I mean, we could go all over. It's okay.
Okay, yeah. So I know they revealed at the end that he was right. He was the previous king or his father was previous king of the Southlands?
No. That's Hallbrand. We're talking about Elendil, who picked them up. Elendil, the one who saved Galadriel.
Right. Yes. So go on.
I mean,
who's Elendil?
I mean, technically he's in lineage for a kingdom too. He is the father of Isildur, who we also meet this episode. They are Isildur, the one who, if you're a fan of the Lord of the Rings films, the one who really, I mean, yes, Sauron made the ring, but this guy failed everybody when it came down to it. He had one job.
Yes.
He was the one that was supposed to throw it in the fire.
Elrond said, Isildur, hurry.
And he said no.
He said no. He succumbed so quick. It wasn't even
Elrond could have capped him, but all right.
He could have. So Elendil, we're getting more familiar characters and lore.
So wait. So just to be sure, Elendil is the father of Isildur.
But we met Isildur as well.
Yeah, we met Isildur too.
Okay.
And it's like something I think that is pretty cool about this series is that, for House of the Dragon, it takes place 100+ years before Daenerys' time. With this one, it's like taking place 1,000+ years
3,000 years
before
Crazy.
like Lord of the Rings.
Yes.
But we're still getting some familiar, some characters we know, but then also some characters of legend. And I think that kind of tie-in, getting both of those is super cool. Seeing Elrond and Galadriel, like seeing both of them and knowing who those characters become is super cool. But then seeing like Isildur, who was just like kind of like a character in the prologue of the first one, like barely was somebody we know. Seeing him pop up, that was super cool. I don't think I realized he was in this series. I didn't know his time was mapping over this time too.
I didn't think he was going to be in this series either. I don't really know the timeline. Because I mean, when you're dealing with elf characters, they're forever. So they're here for they were here for everything. So I thought maybe it could be 100 years until we see Isildur, but I guess Isildur in his prime knew Elrond kind of in his prime.
Yeah, I think the creators, from what I've heard, the creators have taken some liberties and kind of like, you're not going to see Frodo pop up, but I think they're kind of like squeezing the timeline a little bit so we get more overlap because, hey, they have a TV show to produce. You know what I mean? They do want people to watch it and be invested. So, I think they're taking a little liberties, but nothing that I think is too egregious yet. So,
I mean, it doesn't feel egregious. I think it's perfect, honestly, because, Galadriel is a great character so far. I like her a lot. However, her story, as far as we know, when you think about the movies, she's just kind of, we talked about it last week. She's got like one prominent scene in the Fellowship, and
that's it.
That's kind of it. Versus when you have a character like Isildur, I think it'll be really fun to watch Isildur. He seems quite likable now. Kind of a dumb brother, wants to be this great sailor. What is it? The sea's always right.
Yes.
He's always
Something-
right. But didn't he got like fired from his last other position? So it feels like he didn't even want this one. Feels like he's like, I don't know. He seems like almost so ambitious. He doesn't want these kind of like run-of-the-mill stuff, is what I'm getting, you know?
Well, it seems like the whole family doesn't. I don't know. It seems they're great. They're destined for greatness, and then they're over here just okay with being these sailors.
The other shore too. Yeah, they're not even really kind of camping in like, you know, the real big, beautiful part of Numenor.
Numenor.
Beautiful city.
A new setting we have not ever explored.
Beautiful.
We've never,
Right.
not even in the movies or the.
Not the Hobbit seat. Nope, none.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's interesting.
58 mil. It shows.
58
It's showing.
It's showing.
It's
I
showing.
like that. I like that it's a new area. Like, because, you know, you see places like this on like a fantasy map, and you always wonder, like, oh, there's this little island or this little piece of land off in the distance in the ocean, but our characters are so far removed from that piece of land, you're probably never going to see them ever venture there. I don't know. I think this is kind of cool, because I cannot tell you how many times, like, either in Aragon or other terrible fantasy stories, the landmass, like, you have your main landmass, and that's where most of your adventure takes place. You have the islands off to the side, and you never really go there because they're like little islands. Who cares, right? Nothing ever happens there. Here, you get to see it. I'm not gonna lie. With Lord of the Rings, if I saw an island off in the ocean, I probably said, "Yeah, we're never gonna see that." We'll probably hear of it, and they'll say like, "Oh yes, it's magical and whimsical. Oh, you should come there sometime." We're never gonna go there. But look at that. We're here. It looks great.
It does. It's one of those places. It's like, if it's probably dropped in the mentioning of the books in the films. I don't think it was ever mentioned in the films, but it's like blink and you miss it, or it's like you have to dive deep into the expanded material to really learn about it. So fans of the expanded material probably really love seeing Numenor. You know, we're 3,000 years before Fellowship, and here we got more kind of there's a layer of mystery because there's still a lot we don't know. This city was given to the humans by the elves.
Not given.
What did they say? They're right. What did
They say they paid for it
In blood.
in blood?
In
Okay.
blood? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Because they
they-
did. They had to earn it.
They fought
earned it.
Yeah.
together.
Right.
I kind
Against
of like this thing they're drawing so far, where it's like you have like the men who were kind of like on the good side, but like whenever the elves or really anybody talk about the men in the Southland, they're like, yo, they sucked. They swore loyalty to the big bad before Sauron. They can't be trusted still. They're still up to no good. And I don't know. That's like, even though you can't really trust these Numenorians, these people either, because they don't really like their elves. But I feel like that kind of a distinction they're making has been pretty cool.
Right.
Distinction as groups of people that don't like elves, groups of people that do like elves, groups of people who don't like certain men.
I
Like
guess
that.
like they both don't like elves. They both don't like elves, but it's like one is like, yo, they can't be trusted. They swore loyalty to Sauron's boss. While these ones were like, hey, they fought on the elf side. I think that's been cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's a polarizing dynamic. I guess it really depends on where you're looking or where you stand. So it is cool to explore. Again, we don't get much of this in the original series nor the Hobbit. So I mean, we get it, but like we don't see it in such a grander scale in terms of like a whole city's worth. Well, actually, talking about the Southland, as far as I think it'll be cool to watch Isildur, who we know we're probably going to grow to really like him, but we know he's going to fail, versus a character now, Hallbrand, who was revealed to be ties to the Southlands, and you know, his people sided with Morgoth, right? That's what they were getting at, right?
His people sided with Morgoth, and the people of Numenor sided with the elves.
Right.
It's
interesting
Halbrand
thing.
Halbrand.
Is he a character that we know, or is he a new person?
No, he's a. I mean, I don't know if he's in the mythos, but he's like new to the.
As of now, we don't. You know, he's not somebody we know. But like,
okay,
I think what this series is doing a great job of, it's like playing with expectations and playing with like who these people might grow up to be.
He might be a legend.
Who might be their legacy?
Right.
Like who?
I mean, could Halbrand grow up to be? Is it the Witch Queen, the Witch King?
One of the kings.
Agnar.
Agmar or something. Yes, the Witch King of Agmar. Who were okay.
I don't know.
That's a good point. It is the rings of power. 9 rings went to men, 3 rings went to elves,
right,
and 7 went to the dwarves. So maybe we're kind of doing a roster, a roll call. So you know,
so we gotta count our 9. I guess because all the 9 men were considered kings, right?
Oh my gosh! And all 9 men turn into the wraiths.
Right, they turn.
So
into the
we all know they're gonna fail.
We all know
they're all going to fail at some point.
All bad. They all become horrible, evil creatures. They're not even men anymore. They're monsters. I mean, this is the stuff that gets me excited. You know what I mean? It's like
I didn't think about it before.
It's a Darth Vader complex, you know.
But it's not just Darth Vader. You know, it's like when I think of House of the Dragon, it's like, hey, this is the story of how the Targaryens fell. When you think of like the prequel trilogy, it's like this is how the Empire rose, the Republic failed, Darth Vader came into power. Like with this show, we're looking at like the return of Sauron coming into power. We're watching the creation of the rings. We're watching the birth of Mordor. We're watching like, you know, the rise of like these men who like made terrible decisions, none more than a Isildur at like the moment in which they could have rewrote history. You know what I mean? It's like this prequel, I feel like, is if you're really into the lore, not even really into it, if you have like a good understanding of the lore, this sequel is like throwing so much stuff at you, at making you ask so many questions and teasing you with so much stuff that I think, I don't know. I was like kind of on the fence, not on the fence. I was like, oh, I enjoyed the first 2. Something about this third one, I'm like, all right, they got me. I'm in. Let's see where this goes. The worlds are magical. These questions they're asking, I'm interested in. I'm into pretty much all of the main characters are jumping around. I don't know. It's good stuff. It's really good prequel stuff.
I like the way that they're doing it in the sense that, you know, in referencing Star Wars again, because of the whole Darth Vader thing. With Darth Vader, right? We know Darth Vader's evil. He's in the original trilogy. And then you get the prequel series or the prequel trilogy with Anakin, and you know he eventually becomes Darth Vader. But in the Clone Wars series of Star Wars, you really get to see the character of Anakin in a much better light than the way the movies could portray him. And, you know, you learn that he's a great mentor. He's a great Jedi and all that stuff. But, you know, no matter what happens at the end of the day, he's going to fail everyone. He's going to succumb to his lust for power, and he's going to become one of the most detrimental figures in the galaxy. So I really feel like, you know, a character like, and his name's escaping me again, but cast him into the fire.
Isildur.
Him, like, we're meeting him right now, and like we just said, he is somewhat likable, and I feel like we're gonna grow to like him even more as the series progresses. But at the end of the day, we know what he becomes, along with the other 8 men in his roster that get the rings of power. Like, they're gonna fail everyone.
So we're really getting like 9 Anakin stories that
9 Anakin
I imagine.
stories.
I imagine it will probably be intricate enough. Like I don't think we're gonna get like, oh, here's one who just appears and it's like, oh, okay.
Oh,
he's
that's
one.
gonna suck. I hope.
Right. No,
Yeah.
I don't think that's gonna. I don't think it's gonna be like that. I mean, they have 5 seasons that they're committed to.
Was it 5? They said
5
5.
5 seasons
Okay.
they're committed to.
Okay.
They can really space it out. You know, we don't know what the big end game is. You know, as
Well,
far
we
as
do.
well, I guess the big end game would be a seal door, cast it into the fire.
It has to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
That's the final scene.
Okay.
Oh
All right.
my
so that-
gosh, can you imagine the
Just the
final
build up to
scene?
that.
The final scene on the final episode is like that line again, and it just fades to
Ooh.
black. Boom, credits. Ooh,
Ooh.
I wrote it for you, Amazon. Where's my check?
Yeah, we know where it's going, and it's like, and yet I'm so excited. Like I don't know. It's like I guess to have like a moment when you know like this is where it's going to. I guess the people who are watching the prequel trilogy, like, you know, it's like, oh yeah, he becomes Darth Vader, but like there wasn't like a moment you knew when like he became Darth Vader. To have like a specific moment when he's like in Mount Doom, and it's your boy Elrond, who I already really liked. I know both of you all said that you guys liked him too. Like both of them in Mount Doom, kind of like just defeated Sauron in like this epic, surprising way. To see this character we just met, to see him grow into the person who says no, I'm hooked. I'm in. Let's go. Like, you know what I mean? Take all the time you want. Like this is gonna be. I want the build up.
Yeah, there's a lot
here
of
for it.
layers, a lot of unexplored layers that can add to this build up that we speak of. I mean, Galadriel's here, but I don't know how she'll be part of this build up. Granted, she is given a ring herself. She's one of the 3 elves that is given a ring.
Oh,
Okay.
is she?
I
She
didn't know
is.
that.
She is one of them. So it'll be interesting because, you know, with regards to her, you know, we talked about in the Fellowship, Frodo offered her the ring so he can be rid of the burden. She, you know, she did the whole, instead of a Dark Lord, you'll have a Dark Queen.
I need to
Does nobody
rewatch
remember that
Iconic.
scene?
I vaguely remember
Incredible.
it, like, but I need to see it to like, you know, unlock that core memory again.
So, to me,
Kate
it sounds
Blanchett,
like,
just amazing. Just amazing.
yes.
You
To
know
me,
what?
it sounds like
Keep
she'll
going.
be tempted.
I'm gonna look it up right now.
Just go look. Yeah, I feel she'll be tempted too. I mean, right now she's being met with a lot of hostility as an elf. She has not caught a break yet, other than from Elendil.
She's so warbent too, though. She's
She
so
is.
focused on like kind of getting her revenge. She like, you know, forgets heaven, jumps in the water. You know, the whole time she's like in this place where, you know, the Hallbrand is like, hey, we should probably use a little diplomacy. She's just calling them out, being like, yo, the elves gave you this place. Everything you see here, we gave y'all. And it's like, yo, you have no power here. You need to chill out.
I mean, Hallbrand's not one to talk. He's over here picking fights in the local tavern.
All right, yo, let's pause there. Let's talk about that fight. Wow.
They're getting
That's
violent
really-
on Amazon. They got the boys level of violence.
I was
Okay.
I was surprised with the level of violence we saw on screen, but I was also surprised with like I was getting evil vibes. You know what I mean? Like that didn't seem like Aragon. You know what I mean? That felt
It didn't seem necessary. That's
Wait,
what.
where are we at? Where are we at right now?
Hallbrand picking a fight with those guys in the.
he tries to
Oh
seal
yeah, damn, he went in on them.
the thing. Yeah.
Jesus, when he did that thing to that guy's arm, I'm like, okay, no, you wanted to disrespect him, and you wanted
It felt like he didn't want to fight. You know, he was like, I really don't want to do it. And you're kind of like, dude, is he like a wuss? He tries running away. They pull him back. And it just felt like for a second you thought, oh, like he's really like a bit of a pacifist. But then you see, oh, he was worried about them. He didn't want to like destroy them because it was like a trigger, I felt. It wasn't like he was like, all right, I gotta use some moves to like escape and hurt them. It felt like he blacked out, saw red, and just started wrecking them. You know what I mean? It didn't feel like he was in control, and it felt like a tinge of evil. I don't know if you guys felt the same way, but I was getting evil.
I can buy the evil. Yeah.
There was the whole thing when on the last guy when he whispered in his ear right before he smashed his face into the wall.
Oh man, yeah, I forgot he smashed the face. Good.
It wasn't just smashing the face. He whispered it. He had a momentary pause where he could have just been like, "You're finished," and then just drop him on the floor. No, he said, I don't know, see you next fall.
I think he says his name. Hallbrand. Like he said earlier. I think they asked him what your name was, and he was like, "Oh, depends on." Says it's way better written than what I'm saying, but it's like, no, it depends on our relationship. And then it's like, in that moment, he decides to reveal his name to these people, like, "Yo, I'm Hallbrand," and it said it like this kind of demonic way. I don't know, I'm not saying like the next episode he's gonna portray Galadriel. Yeah. But I don't know. Long term. I mean, we were saying like kind of like flimsily, like Witch King, but I mean, I don't know. Oh, and the other thing is that he's a smith. He's a smith. You know what I mean? He's a
smithy.
He's
like
he
wanted to get into the iron. He wanted to get into the blacksmiths.
Right.
In theory, he could be somebody who helps out with the building of the rings.
Sure. Or with Elrond's currently on the mission of building the forge. Yeah. We could see their paths crossing, maybe, for sure.
Yeah, and just like it was an interesting note to make it kind of like known. They kind of spotlighted that he's like a smith of some sort. He's really interested in it. So that felt intentional.
He knows his way around iron, or whatever material they have.
Right.
Yeah, I could definitely see if they're. I mean, he is heir to the Southlands. I think it's safe to say maybe he is one of our 9 kings. Maybe that could be our running count. So we got. I don't know if Elendil is considered one of the who had one of the 9 rings. I don't know.
I'm actually trying to look it up and see who got some of the rings.
But just
like any names.
Yeah, we just gotta keep in mind the 9 rings, the 7 for the dwarves, and then the 3 for the elves were all made before Sauron made his.
Correct.
So just gotta.
So we think, right? You know what I mean? Like
no. Sauron made his to beat them all.
Right.
That was one ring.
Right.
Yeah, one ring to find them, one ring to bind.
Isn't it one ring to rule them all? Isn't that the motto?
There's a whole line. It's a beautiful line.
There's a whole line. But
I remember that's what it was. Here it is. One ring to rule them all, one ring to find them, one ring to bring them all, and in the darkness bind them.
Yes, that is it.
Oh, that's a rhyme.
That is the line.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think like, at least I interpret it as like while the rings were being built, Sauron was like manipulating like how they were being built. So when he had his ring, he would be able to manipulate them all. I think Sauron is somewhat going to be involved. I'm not too sure how in the building of the original rings. You know what I mean?
I can see that too.
Yeah, I don't think Sauron's ring is a reaction to the rings being built. I think they're both tied together.
A multi-layered plan.
I think so.
A freaking Order 66.
Ooh, is he the Palpatine of the Lord of the Rings
that's the thing. I mean, I guess we can I wanted to do this one last. I guess we can kind of hop to the I like to call this, I mean, laugh if you want, don't if you 12 years an elf slave.
Funny.
So okay, I wasn't the only one that noticed that. I'm glad, because
again,
I was like, wow, what are the odds?
Because we talked about it last week. And,
you guys did talk about it last week.
For those who, again, in our Discord, we go over this. HooperTV is okay with you know, the Black experience portrayed in a fantasy setting. How come we got the first Black elf and he's kidnapped and put into slavery? I'm just saying.
Chains abound with whips and like the imagery is there.
I did say that prior to knowing he would be a slave in the next episode.
Oh yes, this is all prior to this episode.
Yes, correct,
we were
right.
But I guess Amazon was like, no, we're gonna go the extra mile. We're gonna make it a literal comparison. Just wow.
Hard to defend, but you know, it was a plot line. It was a story beat. I'm gonna give them a little room. I'm gonna give them a little space. I'm not gonna come after them. You know.
Don't get me wrong. It works. It's just. It just had to be the Black elf. It just had to be the Black elf. Right.
You know what though? He didn't die. It was
he didn't die.
That died. So.
He did not. He goodness, he was 1v1ing the entire prison camp.
Oh,
Those are his friends, right? That was his commander.
Yes, those were the friends from the first episode.
Yeah.
So who was the younger elf that was his friend? Was he the guy that accompanied him on the trip to see the girlfriend?
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Got
So
it.
they all just got
younger
captured
one.
off screen, off screen.
The captain was the one
in
they
the
were, like,
tower.
looking out. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
yeah, that one I remember. Okay. So
they all got captured
off screen. I guess
he was just a little late. He was a little late because he had to visit his girlfriend.
Right. So they're all like digging in an excavation camp.
They're looking for something.
They're looking for something.
Okay.
But all the while, these tunnels again they had that one that went to that one town in the last episode.
Right.
And they went to the other town where the girlfriend
They just got there. And what do you think they're looking for?
Got to be that blade that little boy has.
I mean, but like, what would it be? Like, is it
Morgoth's blade, maybe?
The one blade to rule them all?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I hate for it to be a blade of prophecy or something, but
did Sauron
it looks powerful.
Have like a mythical blade that he used, or
not to mind? Sauron
that
had that giant mace.
Too.
Oh,
that character is interesting too.
Which
I'm
character?
Curious. Theo, the character with the hilt.
We didn't get him this episode. I knew we were missing someone.
Wait, the character with the hilt.
We didn't get Theo. We didn't get the girlfriend.
Oh yeah, and we didn't get Elrond or Doreen.
Right.
I like that. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with you know. Yeah, Game of Thrones has done that in the past too, where they might just focus on 3 storylines in one episode, and
like the season where they completely ignore
not like what Bran, where
Bran,
they said
yes.
no,
we don't know where he's going. Let's just stop here.
Yeah. It's not like that. It's like earlier Game of Thrones where it was like, oh, Tyrion's adventure might not be in this episode, or you know, Rob's adventure might not be in this episode.
Yeah, and that's okay. I'm okay with that. It's just like
No. I was gonna say for this episode, it felt like for the introduction to Numenor and Isildur, his family, the queen, the king that's in hiding. It felt like they had a lot of introduction to do. So I was kind of like, all right, yeah, let's meet these characters before we're like jumping all over the place again, you know?
Yeah, I think they took a break. They said let's get some more characters on the field, and then we'll double back for everybody else. So I mean, that's to say we don't know if there's going to be any more characters introduced. I think this is pretty good right here, as far as a core group of characters to follow.
Right.
Yeah, at least for season 1, I think I'm good with who they've introduced so far. I'm interested to see who these characters turn out to be in some instances. I don't know if you guys talked about it last week. Do you guys talk about like who the stranger might be?
The stranger?
Let's jump over to our friends, your favorite characters.
No, we talked about it a little bit.
We talked about
Nori and Poppy.
Oh yeah, we'll come back to the camp. All right, yeah, we can talk about
this is probably my least favorite. Yeah, the Harfoot.
Yeah, you're still not into the Harfoot.
I'm still not into the Harfoots.
I'm not really into the Harfoots either.
I'm telling you, these are the moments where I zone out. I go on my phone, I go through Twitter, like I'm paying attention, but this is where Rings of Power kind of loses me a little bit.
I mean, I'm not completely lost, but it's probably the weakest for me.
It's the most hot, but like I feel like this is like kind of what you need to do. You know what I mean? Like this, they're not going to be pulling up swords. You know what I mean? They're not going to be like doing anything too crazy yet. You know, I'm good with the pacing right now. I'm like, all right, we're understanding the world of these Harfoots. I thought the bit about Poppy's family, all being lost.
So that was Poppy's family. Though when they were doing the book, they were doing. I mean, I saw her face. I saw her face.
I saw her face. Be on your phone.
You're
no.
No.
I didn't know her last name. I didn't know her last name. I just saw her face when she started tearing up.
Well,
who the hell is Poppy?
Poppy is her friend, Nori's friend.
Okay. What about her?
Remember they were reading the book of the people that they lost?
Yeah.
I guess that was her family.
Oh, okay. No, yeah. Okay, yeah. I caught that. I didn't know if you were referencing someone that was alive like hundreds of years later.
Oh no.
Okay.
No. It seems so far this is a secluded story. At least for the Harfoots, it's not quite connected to anything modern day. Even though I think it can be inferred this race eventually becomes hobbits.
Well, it's
the
a
proud fellows.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's a subspecies of hobbits.
Yeah, I don't think hobbits exist right now, though. So it's like, you know, like the modern day, these people might become the modern day hobbits in some evolution that happens. But I thought that bit with Poppy was good. I think
the lore is good with the Harfoots. Kind of their way of doing things. Interesting.
I like seeing their culture. I think they've like developed like a pretty cool like travelers culture, leaving people behind like no matter what. It seems like kind of cutthroat, but like
I thought that was kind of funny. Like but like funny in the sense that like, you know, you have these Harfoots that are very close knit with each other. They seem very family oriented in nature. And they always try to get out of people's business. They're always about survival. But when it comes to their detriment, where they're willing to leave, like
what's their saying? What's their saying? No one walks alone, but they say something before that. Stick to the trail.
Something like that.
Yeah,
something like that. Like if someone trips and falls, you leave their ass behind. You keep going. Do not.
Yeah, they might be a little fucked up. I don't know.
I don't like them. And again, you know, people compare this to The Hobbit. You know, this is your Hobbit storyline. My problem is there is no Elijah Wood that I can gravitate towards in this Harfoot story. I don't like Nori. I don't like Poppy. I definitely don't like Poppy.
I like Nori.
There's no Elijah Wood. That not literally Elijah Wood.
That let me chill out.
Elijah Wood is pretty good.
Elijah Wood. Look, you go to The Hobbit and you're like, man, Elijah Wood's killing it in these scenes. I love getting to know the Samwise.
I'm a big Sam person.
Sam. If we're ranking the Hobbits, I think Frodo's last.
Frodo might be last. That's what.
Wait, last in terms of like if
you're ranking the OG Hobbits. Like Frodo, Sam, Pippin, and Merry.
Sam's like top 2 characters in Lord of the Rings for me. Like
easy.
Great character. Amazing. Pippin and Merry, great. Hilarious. Iconic.
Second breakfast. I love it.
Well, you know,
Frodo, he carries the ring.
Listen, we say this, but everybody had like a come up in the series. Frodo's the only one who was on a downward spiral the whole time. You literally watch him lose himself, so it's kind of unfair.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't think Poppy, or not Poppy. I don't think Nori is going to. We talked about it last week. She is okay. I got their saying. Their saying is no one goes off trail. No one walks alone. Stupid saying. I don't think it's anything good. But it's that quintessential. I want to break the norm. I want to be different. I want to see the world versus stick between these parameters. It's your typical thing, you know.
Yeah, but you guys were saying this last time, and I think you guys were right. But like, it is new for like, I think a Hobbit character. You know what I mean? Like, I think Bilbo historically was like, nah, I'm not going. Nah, I don't want to go. I'll be nice to these dwarfs entering my house, but like, adventures, that's not for me. And then Frodo
was thrusted.
Yeah, you know what I mean? He's like kind of less that, but you know, he's kind of like just going about his life, and just ends up going on this adventure. You know what I mean? He never really asked for this. It's kind of cool for this one to kind of be like, yo, I want that. That's what I'm looking for. At least in terms of like, in comparison to the other Hobbit-like creatures we've met. I don't know. Here's what I'm saying. I'm not saying they're great yet. Like I said, I like what they gave Poppy in this little thing, learning about Poppy's family. I think they both have a lot of potential. I think they have a lot of potential to kind of like grow on us and kind of like, I mean, once they're off on an adventure and like they haven't even began the adventure yet. They're still
on the trail. They're
Maybe
on
the
trail.
adventure will sell me. Yeah.
They're still in the Shire right now, you know? But anyways, we came here to talk about the Stranger. You guys did talk about the Stranger last week?
We did. He's a wizard. He's definitely
He's
a
of
wizard.
The wizard race of people, which by the way, I was unaware was a separate like species of like entities or people.
Yes, because more to that idea. Remember when Gandalf died, he was sent back.
Right. Exactly.
Like if a man dies, the man dies, or becomes a ghost.
Yeah.
So,
I've always known Gandalf was different, built different, if you will, because he's old as shit, and he's always been old as shit. I didn't know if he was like a meteor baby, but I guess I
didn't know he was a meteor either.
Do we think who is the Stranger? Who is this person?
I don't think he's a
Gandalf.
No, I don't think he's Gandalf.
Or is Gandalf too? Well, okay.
No.
Go ahead.
Gandalf was born or came to Middle Earth definitely after the Sauron conflict, because
Are you sure?
he would. I'm thinking he would have recognized Bilbo's ring right off rip.
Okay.
But did he think it was like Lost in Legend? He was kind of like he knows about the ring, but he was like.
So you think this is Gandalf?
Here's the thing. I don't know if it's Gandalf. It almost feels like it would be too easy to be Gandalf.
I feel like there's probably Lord of the Rings fans getting pissed at these theories that we could be so.
What do you mean? This stuff is all up for grabs.
It could be in the lore already.
That's the worst part.
But that's the thing.
I do think like I said, I think like the creators are taking a little liberties to give like a more interesting TV show, a more interesting theatrical experience, because it does feel theatrical. So like one of the things they did was that the Harfoots were never in I guess like Tolkien's kind of like appendices and things like that. So I guess what they're doing is saying like, hey, these are Hobbit-like creatures, because we need the Hobbit-like creatures in our show. But they hid the whole time, and they were, never seen. That's why they're not in any of like the histories of Middle Earth. You know what I mean? They're not in the books because they were never seen by anybody. And so they're doing things like that to kind of like work around, maybe some of the lore kind of rules that were in place before them. So I don't know. I mean, could this could this Gandalf character just have like a one-off story with these Hardfoots? Learn that Hobbit-like people are good,
Worthy,
and that's why
capable,
and that's why he trusts them. Come Lord of the Rings, and he doesn't have anything to do with like Lord of the Rings. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
So from what because I actually like talking about these and then looking it up to try and see if any of our things match up. So
you
there's
gotta be careful.
No.
But
I do enough to see like just a timetable because that's how we were able to figure out how many years is Rings of Power take place before Fellowship. Because at first we were thinking like it's a couple hundred years. No, it's 3,000 years, and that's important because from what I understand, there's no exact age of how old Gandalf is. From what I could see, people just agree he's old as shit. Like he's just really, really old. That's his whole shtick. And some people have placed his age between 2,000 to 3,000 years to 24,000 years. And the 24,000 is more or less like a joke because I think at one point he did say, like, as a joke to Bilbo or Frodo, he was like, "Oh, I could be 24,000 years. I don't know." But this could be Gandalf. This could be Gandalf. Is it? I don't know. But it's clearly someone of that race of people, whatever you want to call it, because he fell from the sky. He literally fell from the sky.
I just, if you say it could be Gandalf, what if it is Sauron?
It could be Saruman too. It could be Saruman.
Oh yeah, he the other one, right? The white beard and white hair guy.
Christopher Lee.
Lee. Okay, got it.
Yeah, Count Dooku.
Yes. Count Dooku.
Yeah, Count Dooku
right.
versus Magneto. Classic battle.
I love this. Yes,
everybody's favorite.
Scene.
I guess the door's open.
It could be.
Yeah.
You know what? It would be more interesting if it is Sauron. It would be more interesting because
again, it's another character who's destined to fail or turn.
Yes.
And here's the thing too. It's like almost like I'm not the only one with this prediction. Other people are like, who is the stranger person that fell out of the sky? I know Gandalf, so is it Gandalf? It's like, if people are going to be making these predictions, it's not really going to hit if you wait till episode 8 being like, oh, it's Gandalf. You know what I mean? It's like, I feel like the creators have to know that. And so I don't think if it's like a big reveal, like, hey, this is Gandalf, I don't think they're going to keep it in their back pocket for much longer. Could be next episode. But if they keep holding on to it, the more they hold on to it, the more I think it'll be somebody else. But I also think Gandalf, he's going to show up in the series. I do think he's going to show up in some capacity, in some way. Maybe it's like a younger version of him eventually. So
I did look up his age. Saruman is at least 2,000 years old, according to people. At least 2,000.
And remember, these creators are like, they're not doing anything too drastic.
Right.
But like, they might take some liberties with being like, all right, you know what, we're gonna move Sauron's birth up 100 years,
yes,
or something like that.
I could see them doing that.
These are all the little things I am eating up when I watch this show. You know what I mean? But to other shows' credit, it's like, if I just put a random person down and say like, hey, watch this, and they're unfamiliar with Lord of the Rings, they've never seen it, never read it, and they just watch it, they're not gonna be like, who's that stranger? Is that Gandalf? And so that's why I really think like, hey, this show, I think it's hitting everything for me. But I can understand why people who aren't as invested, aren't as familiar with the lore and characters, might not be as into it,
Right. I definitely feel like you have to be already, I feel like you have to love Lord of the Rings. I think you said that earlier, or maybe you said it here, or you sent it in a group chat. But
no, you said it here. You said it
here
in the beginning. Yeah,
you said it off mic though. I think I said it beforehand. My
I think it was off mic.
Take.
Go ahead. Do your.
All right, yeah. I'll reveal it here for the first time. it feels like so far, at least we're through 4 episodes of House of the Dragon, 3 episodes of Lord of the Rings. It feels like House of the Dragon right now is for people who liked Game of Thrones. If you were into kind of like the political maneuverings, if you're into seeing dragons fly, this show's delivering it. You know what I mean? Like, if you're just like in general into those things, this show's got you. It feels like Rings of Power is for people who love Lord of the Rings. If you ever thought what it was like, what Elrond was like 2,000 years ago, if you ever wanted to see the rise of Mordor, if you ever wanted to see what the original races of hobbits were, if you ever had any of those questions, like, this is what this show is kind of getting at and teasing and playing around in. And yeah, it just feels like that love, that little difference. It doesn't sound like a lot, but I do think it makes all the difference in terms of your experience with both these properties, at least so far through 3 and 4 episodes. So
no, I agree.
Yeah, I can be down with that. Yeah,
this is definitely something where again, this is like a fantasy story being told very well, to where you kind of want to talk about it every week, and you do want to theorize like, who are these characters, or who some people grow up to end up being. Some of them you definitely know because they name drop them. You're like, oh, that's that person. But then you have a character like this who you want it to be someone that you know from the original material, but you're like, who is it? It could be anyone. So that's.
Well, I will say it seems we're gonna get more of the stranger now that he's out and about with the Harfoots.
Also, random thought.
Go ahead.
Some people theorize this could be Sauron as well. That's the last one.
Oh, really? The stranger?
The stranger.
We haven't seen him. We still haven't seen him.
Well,
there's that assumption that he's supposed to be. Well, originally back when the trailers came out, there was
that blonde guy.
The blonde guy in the trailer, but
who we
now
still haven't seen yet.
We still haven't seen him in the show. And then there's what you were gonna say, Grandmaster?
I think let's go back to the camp.
The camp, okay.
So where we leave off? Well, I mean, we talked about his friends. They died. Great.
They died. We should bring up the ward.
Well, I was gonna say it was a great little scene. The whole,
the action sequence.
Water rations.
Yeah, that was just kind of weird. What was the deal with that? I wasn't. I
just
thought
being cruel for cruelty.
But it's just weird. Like, you let the first 2 guys drink, and I guess that lets their guard down. So you slit the throat of the guy that thought it was safe. Like,
the tension was really high. I've never.
Yeah, they knew that. They knew not to trust it.
Right. I guess maybe that's what it was. It's like they're clearly not trusting it. So it's okay. You know what? As a tactic to mess with someone's mind, I kind of buy it now.
Yes, that is clearly what it was.
They clearly don't trust them, and they're hesitant. They don't know what it is. They don't know what they're gonna do to them. So the first,
and maybe they're so focused on the water. They never see the slit coming.
Right?
I mean, they didn't.
I saw it. The thing is, I saw it as first it was the older elf. I forgot his name. The Watchtower one, the one that got shot with the arrow.
Screw his name.
Yeah, he's the first one.
Let's call him Watchtower.
Watchtower elf. Watchtower elf is the first one to take a sip, and he's the most cautious one because he's like, bro, I don't want to drink this. So he's cautious in drinking it. His guard's up. He drinks it, totally fine. He passes it on to our main elf,
Orondir.
I swear I'm gonna ask you every time.
Orondir.
So he takes it, and he's like, okay, so clearly this is not poisoned, and this is not something, this is clearly water. But all right, I'm gonna take a sip as well. He takes it, and the orcs are not doing anything. They're like, yeah, drink. So
why'd you give them? We're not Russian.
You know what?
Drink the water. Drink the water.
In my head canon, they're
Russian. Wow,
they're Russian. Yes. So at that point, 2 elves drank it. It's safe. The orcs aren't doing anything. The third elf is like, hey, all right, this is a water ration. Let's get it. He starts drinking. He's like, no, bam, slits his throat. That was the point. They're like, you can let your guard down as much as you want. As soon as you let it down, bam, we're taking you out. We're taking you out.
Tough.
Reading it in that sense, it's okay. It was good. It was good. I liked it. It was it was very cruel for an orc. So that's good.
Cruel for now. That's the thing. I really hope, because one thing I feel we never gotten in any Lord of the Rings media that I know of is kind of the humanization of orcs. Not saying I need like an orc to be like good, but maybe we can, explore a gray orc.
Not all orcs are bad.
Yeah,
I thought all orcs are bad. What?
I don't know. That's the thing. I don't really know.
You want some gray in this. You want an orc to switch sides saying, I don't want to be a mean orc. I don't want to serve Sauron.
It's like what they did with Klingons. They made Commander Worf in Star Trek The Next Generation. No one ever thought a Klingon would join Starfleet. Why can't an orc be like, I like shiny shirts, so I want to be with the elves and wear shiny shirts?
Well, I think in Shadow of Mordor, I think there is an orc that ends up befriending. Well, he befriends you out of circumstance, not willingly, but he is kind of on your side a little bit. He's kind of scheming with you and helping you out. He's not like these type of orcs, but I guess I kind of see what you're saying. Like an orc that just straight up is like, I don't want to do this, mate. I don't want to do this.
It is an area that, as far as I know, has not been explored. I think it would be worth exploring in a series. Call it contrived, maybe.
I don't know about some gray. I don't even know about some gray area, but maybe like, maybe just like some humanizing, maybe in like, this feels like a season 2 type thing. Maybe in like season 2, you focus on like an orc kid who aspires to be an orc. You get to see their journey into becoming an orc soldier or something.
Well, see, that's the other thing.
I don't think there are orc children.
I don't know if there are orc children. I don't know if there are orc women.
Yeah, I don't think there are. I think, isn't the whole point of them like they're like kind of grown like into what?
I was always under the understanding they were elves, like years and years ago. They were elves that turned evil. Basically,
I think I've heard that before.
I think I've heard my understanding.
Yeah.
Somebody says that in one of the movies. They were like, "Do you know where orcs come from?"
Yeah.
They were elves. I can't remember who said that. Somebody said it in one of the movies.
Yeah.
But they were created by the first Dark Lord Morgoth. They were created by the devil.
There you go.
So, will we get a gray elf? I don't know. It's the devil.
Just a character to follow would be cool. Just like, follow one for a season.
You know what? Okay, you know what? One thing I can buy, maybe not necessarily an orc that is questioning his role and like, do I want to be mean? But like, maybe an orc that is going through the ranks, and you're kind of not sympathizing with him because he's doing evil stuff, but like you're kind of attached to him. Like in a weird part of your brain, you're like, I kind of want him to succeed, but at the same time I don't, because if he does, he might kill a character from the elf side or the human side, whoever that I actually do like. Or maybe that's the conflict. Maybe eventually they do clash and you're like, ooh, who am I rooting for in this?
I will. With that said, I think these ones that we've met here, maybe we'll see them again. They look like they had distinctive faces to follow. I don't know. Yeah, it's just, again, something different. You have 5 seasons, you have 58 mil. They're doing the traditional, makeup and costuming and practical effects.
They look good.
They look great.
Good.
Yeah.
Good orcs.
Return to
not
form.
The Hobbit orcs. I think you guys said this last episode. They're not the Hobbit orcs. These orcs are way better.
What were Hobbit orcs like? Were they just CG?
Yeah, there's CGI.
Yeah.
They were
All of
all
them were
CGI. They
CG?
were all. I'm
So
telling you,
bad.
I remember the main one, the one that was hunting them.
the
was,
white one.
Right, he was CG.
Yeah.
But
I
all
don't
of them
understand.
majority of them were all CGI.
I don't understand
Wow.
how Peter Jackson could create such a like practical effect masterpiece and then just like
Because he
Oh,
didn't
no.
want to make The
Yeah.
Hobbit.
he didn't want to make the Hobbit.
was it too much money?
Also,
They just offered him too much money to
I
make
feel
it.
like-
He just had to.
well, part of it I think was like the rush behind it too. Like I think it was very rushed compared to
There was a bit
Lord
of
of the
a.
Rings. There was some
Uh,
development development fiascos going on with The Hobbit, from what I
I also
know.
think the text of The Hobbit just like isn't. It's not Lord of the Rings. It's not. It's not like inherently theatrical the way Lord of the Rings is, and it's not. Lord of the Rings literally is 3 books. It's really 6.
it lends itself to a trilogy. The
Yeah, no,
Hobbit,
they
Way more than The
forced
Hobbit does.
a trilogy out of The Hobbit.
they
and had
could
a-
have ended it with 2, from what I remember.
They
'Cause
could originally it was supposed to be 2
right.
films, right? And then they just added all the expanded material and whatever, and the subplot of the Dark Lord is rising, whatever. But so we have the escape sequence. I guess you said the Reddit folks might be a little upset about the acrobatics of this one elf and the chain tossing and flipping.
I'm okay with it. To me, I buy it because he's an elf. Elves are supposed to be agile and do these crazy ass maneuvers. I buy it.
Legolas would have done this back.
Legolas would have
would've
done the
done it.
same thing, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, Legolas.
Yeah.
And I think he has. Okay, maybe he didn't run on chains, but Legolas has pulled off feats in the
He
Lord
like
of the
slid
Rings.
down like an elephant's trunk. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
he did.
Legolas did some wild shit.
Right. If I saw
It's
Frodo
in the
do that,
realm of
okay.
possibility.
That's
To say
questionable.
that it's not is foolishness.
Right.
Yeah.
His friend gets shot. All hope
The
is lost.
warg.
Oh, the warg.
The
Worst
warg.
warg I've ever seen.
You didn't like the
Worst
warg?
warg? What do you mean?
Well, the first time we ever see wargs on
Two
screen
Towers.
is Two Towers. Yeah,
Great.
Okay.
Fantastic scene.
that was a good
Same
mixture of
concept,
practical.
like they're like dog.
Yeah, they're
creatures?
wolves. They're basically
Okay.
wolves.
Yeah.
This warg was ugly. Look, not even full grown actually.
A little ugly, but I thought it was cool when it started like kind of like tearing at people. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I
they
thought
were
those
showing
scenes-
it.
Oh, he
Those
one
scenes were
shot
cool.
everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it like
Yeah.
moved around well. When they focused on the face, I was kind of like, eh. But then when it was like bouncing around doing its warg thing, I was into it.
Right.
Yeah, it's cool. I think they could do better. But it's fine. It's there. Definitely when it's
It's a classic. It's a classic Lord of the Rings animal. I thought
Yes,
it deserved,
yes.
little spotlight.
Yeah. I mean, we'll probably see more animals show up. Maybe the eagles. Maybe
Oh, for sure.
maybe the Weaverins that the Nazgul ride.
That would be interesting. That might be like
Yeah.
a season 4 thing, if you ask me.
Actually, I think I might have seen them in the. I've watched one trailer for this show. I think they were in the scene with Morgoth when they were showing Morgoth in that
Oh yeah,
battle.
they were. They did.
Yeah,
show the
they were in the
Eagles.
scene. Yeah.
Yeah.
got you. Yeah, maybe a season finale then.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
you know what shows up, right?
Yeah, I
From the
saw
mine?
in the trailer.
The Balrog.
The Balrog appears.
Yeah.
The Balrog is the fire demon, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So,
Wow.
well, I mean, canonically, they woke him up in the workings of Mordor and everything. And the dwarves, they woke him up. They
The
dug too
dwarves
deep.
kept digging.
Yeah, they
digging
dug too
for just digging in general.
digging
I
for gold.
think-
All that's mining,
think-
whatever they're mining.
I think Mithril. You know when they're opening
Mithril?
up the thing, when they're opening up the box at the end of the second episode.
Yes. You think that's
I don't
Mithril?
know. Could be. A part of me was like wondered a ring at first, but that doesn't quite make sense to see a ring yet. Because
It's I think it's a material for sure.
I'm thinking
Wait,
it's Mithril.
which is the king right now? Of the dwarves?
Durin's father.
Yeah, Durin.
Do we know?
Wow,
Are they
great
both
voice.
named? Are they both named Durin? Right?
Oh, he might be Durin the second, maybe.
Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, Durin, his
'Cause
father.
they were talking about something too at the end of the last episode where they have their own secret going on.
Right, because they don't trust Elrond.
And it's like, I don't know. It sounds like they either found something, which could be mithril, or they're worried about something, which could be like the goblins, the Balrog.
That's the thing, is that the Balrog is probably active currently, and then they put him to sleep, and then they woke him up again. Maybe this is the first time they wake him up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Lots of questions. Looks like Dr. Jace is looking stuff up. Dr. Jace is getting into the lore.
No.
Doing it.
I just like seeing like which Durins are which one. So like this. So our Durin is Durin the fourth. I think.
Okay. Are they all the name Durin?
They're all named Durin. So his father, the king, is Durin the third.
Okay.
From what I can see, the Balrog, which is the scene that we're mentioning when the dwarves are digging into the for mithril in the mountain.
We don't know what they're digging for.
It's during the reign of Durin the sixth. That's when the Balrog gets woken up. During the sixth.
Oh, so it looks like they have some liberties.
But again, right.
Yeah.
They could be moving, the Balrog saying, "Oh, okay, it technically happened with Durin the sixth, but who gives a shit? Let's move it up to Durin the fourth."
Piss off some like deep, hardcore Lord of the Rings fans. But
I mean, you got
a TV show to do.
A lot of people that are naysayers on the show, their main gripe with it is that it's, according to them, is that it's not keeping in line with, I guess, the canon of Lord of the Rings, like the way the mythos was laid out. I haven't dug too deep into it to see like what specifically they are referring to. I know one of them, and that's just because you're on social media, you're gonna see it. One of them is the race of the elves. Which I think Tolkien in his mythos, they describe elves as fair skin, like just all white. All elves are white in his mythos. So they're mad that Orondir is not white, but it's like I don't buy it. I don't buy it. It's fine.
It's fine.
That
Who
boy
cares?
is fair skin. That boy got some great skin.
He is fair skin.
He is fair skin.
He's light skin as fuck.
They take fair skin and they're like, no, white. That means white.
Our darkest character so far is the homeboy at the Harfoots.
That is true. The Harfoot.
Sadok.
Sadok. Okay.
Yes, Sadok.
Yeah. I think people need to understand that this is 2022 and they're making a TV show. You know what I mean? They gotta take some liberties. They gotta maybe squeeze some timelines together. They gotta diversify their cast. And you know what? A lot of people.
A black elf does not break the lore of Lord of the Rings. It doesn't.
A lot of people back in the day criticized Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings. You know what I mean? Like they criticized.
Oh yeah.
Because like there's the Tom Bombadil thing. They removed the scouring of the Shire.
I think even the Tolkien estate
I think they came after it.
Yeah, they criticized the Lord of the Rings, the
But
films.
we don't remember. We were too young.
We didn't care. We didn't look into the behind the scenes.
We just watched it, and guess what? 99% of these people that are complaining, they likely grew up on Lord of the Rings, the films, and they love them like from top to bottom. All of it's fantastic.
Exactly. I feel like both the creators just can't be worried about that. Peter Jackson was like, yo, I'm just going to do my best and put some good product out there. He did. If these creators do the same thing, then it doesn't matter because all the complainers are eventually going to die off just like the same way. The book readers who were mad about Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings, they eventually became so to the far outside that nobody thinks about them anymore. And the same thing will happen here. But,
I agree.
I'd rather be good and entertaining than like 100% accurate to like, Tolkien's letter to his mistress one time where he described something. You know what I mean? Like,
I'm having fun with what is going on. They're not doing something egregious where they say, well, Sauron appears 10,000 years later instead of like around this time. No, the main points are still there. They're still there. They're still solidified. Don't worry about it.
Bilbo Baggins is not walking through that door.
Yeah, Frodo is not gonna smash in from the ceiling.
Listen, people are dumb. People are dumb. People are stupid. It ain't even being woke. We are 2022. We are reflecting a more understanding society. People are dumb.
Yeah,
so.
And they're gonna miss out too. The show's good. This show's really good. You can see the money and time invested into it. When I saw the Dwarf City in the last episode, I was like, damn, this place looks so expensive. I can definitely see where the money went. And then when they went to Numenor. I was like, damn, they can afford another gigantic, massive, beautiful
58 mil per episode.
We're gonna see more cities. I feel like we're gonna see way more cities, and they're gonna be just as intricate.
Just wait till they bring back like Minas Tirith. It's gonna be phenomenal, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Or maybe Rohan in its glory days.
I'd be interested to see what the adventures of Galadriel. Why do I keep getting her name wrong?
Galadriel. Even I remember the name.
Now you remember the name. You were having trouble before.
I was having trouble episode 1, but I got these packed now.
When they show up in Middle Earth, because they're far right now. Like when they did that map zoom out, I was like, damn, Galadriel.
They got a ways to go.
She was nowhere near close.
She was gonna swim back
out of that ship.
She was gonna swim back to Middle Earth.
She might have detoured though when she got on that raft. Maybe, I don't know.
I mean, they talk about like elf years not being long. I guess she was down to swim for like 4 years. That seemed what she was down to do. She was down to swim for 4 years.
I wonder if the stamina can. I mean, I don't know. I guess, I think they do say elf stamina and dwarf stamina is different from the stamina of man. It's not like you do something egregious for like a couple hours, you're tired. I think they could go on for days.
She did have great form. I have to give her credit for that. Her form was
form is enough to go against a vast ocean. Right.
She was nowhere near close.
Right.
Man.
There's one more thing worth talking about. Arondir is brought before ADAR, who ADAR apparently is another alias for Sauron.
Do we think it's just someone using the name ADAR to like kind of mimic the Sauron title, or do we think it's actually Sauron?
If we get Sauron this early, that would be a giant kind of misdirection. Everybody probably thought Sauron would show up much later. So
I feel like in a more bombastic way too, like not necessarily leading an enslavement camp, digging underground. Like I don't know, that doesn't feel like Sauron.
This seems like the work of the grunts, not Sauron who sits at the top. Yeah,
right.
This feels like I think this feels like somebody high up, but not necessarily Sauron himself. I think Sauron's like, I feel like, I almost feel like Galadriel. I feel like in my heart that he's out there. I just don't know where, and I don't know when he's gonna show his face. But I feel like they're showing you a lot of characters. I think he's like operating somehow in some capacity, manipulating something. I feel like this this desire for, you know, the elves to build the rings feels like Sauron had his hand in it. You know what I mean? Because this is them succumbing to power. You know what I mean? It's like the building of these rings and wanting to use them. And I feel like there's like a quote that I'm going to forget. And I will try to look it up before we close this out. But it pretty much just says that Sauron was like kind of behind the scenes while the rings were being built. And like he was using their temptation to get them to do it. Their desire, their pride, their greed. And so I don't know. I don't think this is him. I think he's somewhere though.
I don't think it's him either, because I did look up like something involving one of the showrunners. His name's J.D. Payne. I don't know if you guys are familiar with J.D. Payne.
I think this is their first
I think he's the director.
I think this is their first stuff. I think these are they're two writers, and I think this is like kind of their first big work.
Right, and he, on Sauron's return, because we know eventually he's going to return. He basically told, like in interviews, that Sauron's return might be in a way people aren't expecting. So,
which could be this.
But I feel like with this, you kind of would expect it for this to be him, because he's leading the orcs and he's leading them to dig for, you know, whatever. So when they say something like that in an unexpected way, I feel like he might be someone else. I feel like this is too obvious for this to be Sauron. Like, oh, of course it's the leader of the orcs, of the I mean, they're concentration camps in a way. I'm
gonna say this. I have the scene pulled up. They are bowing. They are chanting his name.
They bowed when he came out?
They are bowing as he's walking by. They are bowing.
Interesting. Okay.
And they are chanting his name, and his glove is very reminiscent of Sauron's glove.
You're right.
That chain, that spiky looking.
Yeah, that
fingers.
spiky. Yeah.
Okay.
It could be misdirection.
It feels very like much misdirects for this early. You know what I mean? If this was like episode 9, maybe I could see it, but I feels like they're holding the Sauron card in their pocket, especially since we haven't seen what is it? The discount Eminem character.
Did you see this guy? This guy is clearly not really orcish in the face. I mean, you don't get a great glimpse of his face, but it's it's like vague enough to where you can't get a good glimpse, but you can definitely make out it's more human than it is orc.
Okay.
Yeah,
like more human-esque than an orc.
Yeah, I was very faded when they cut to black.
Yes.
And I didn't know this. The person that's playing Adar is Joseph Maul. He's from Game of Thrones.
Oh, he is? Who's he in Game of Thrones?
Benjen Stark.
Oh, he's Benjen Stark. Okay.
Benjen Stark.
Ned's brother? Ned's older brother?
Yeah, Ned's brother.
Yep.
Ned's younger brother. Yep.
Right.
Ned's younger brother. Why can't I picture Benjen?
Benjen, season 1. He's at season 1, and then he comes back in that terribly written scene in season 7.
He was at the wall.
Right. He's basically half white right now, I think.
I find it interesting. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, just saying.
Oh no, I find it interesting that a lot of these Game of Thrones characters are like seeping their way into Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, but they're not getting the big ones. They're getting, relatively, like, they got the guy. Elrond is young Ned Stark. So, he had like 3 episodes on Game of Thrones. 4 episodes.
But they were in Game of Thrones Prime. That was Prime Game of Thrones.
Season 6?
Yeah, that was when it was like at one of its all-time. Not talking about the quality of the season, but like in terms of popularity. Like the Game of Thrones was popping between like season 5, I want to say, and season
I think 6, 7, and 8 in terms of like everybody gathering around.
Like views, the viewers.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's where you would get like
still they're being smart about who they're pulling. I'd rather see not the big name stars show up,
all these faces to me like feel fresh, and I feel like that's like important for fantasy shows. It feels like I don't want to be watching something and be like, oh, this is a good performance by Brad Pitt or something.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I don't want to
It's
see
like-
Eddie Murphy
Yeah.
playing an elf or I don't know. Just
Oh, wow.
anyone. I don't want to see
Eddie Murphy's like your go-to thing.
because he's so iconic. I love Eddie Murphy.
You're like, does that make Eddie Murphy canon in the MCU?
That's a valid question. I
I
but I
guess.
do agree. I don't want to see a prolific name because then that's all I'm gonna see when I'm looking at that character.
Yeah, no, I get it. I don't want to see. I like an unknown cast. I mean, half these people are New Zealand actors, European, Canadian. It's a very diverse cast,
Right.
Like geographically speaking, too. So I like that. Did y'all watch the preview? I didn't watch the preview.
I didn't even know there was a preview.
There is a preview. I'm not trying to watch.
I did watch the preview. It wasn't too spoilerly. It was just kind of like scenes from next episode.
Okay.
I can't even remember anything significant. So I do have that Sauron quote. I think I found it. And I wish I had what came before it. But I guess this is good enough. Pretty much what I think it was Galadriel in the beginning of Fellowship, when she's like explaining all the backstory. I think she says something along the line of like, men, dwarves, elves came together, they built these rings, and they were each giving a number. She says, but they were all of them deceived, for another ring was made in the land of Mordor, in the fires of Mount Doom. The Dark Lord Sauron forged in secret a master ring to control all the others. And into this ring, he poured his cruelty, his malice, and his will to dominate all life. One ring to rule them all. So it just feels like the building of the One Ring coincided with the other rings being built. And so that'll be interested to see how that plays out, because it feels like Sauron wanted them to make the rings so he could rule them all.
He did. Yeah, and that's something again based on my little experience with the Shadow of Mordor games. The person who forged the rings was Celebrimbor, who we saw in the first two episodes, or I think at least episode 2. Yeah, these were rings that were made with the deceit that, but there's a secret ring at the same time that's being built, where once all the important figures in Middle Earth are putting on these rings of power, I'm gonna make this one ring that's gonna control all of them.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's how I always understood it.
So I feel like Sauron's got his fingers in a lot of places right now, but I don't know where he's at or who he is, which is cool. I like that this early on in the series.
Well, I just like the mystery surrounding when is he gonna show up? Is he gonna be fully corrupted? Is he gonna be, he might just be, because he might just be the smooth talking dude, who's like, yeah, I made the orcs. I serve Morgoth. I'm evil. This is what I do.
I'm the devil, baby.
He might.
So imagine if he's like an annoying kid that's like a slave, and then
Robin,
mom, and he's like he pod races or something.
I knew you were going there.
I thought you were going more of Robin of Aaron. Robin Aaron from
No. Ew.
From what?
Mommy, I want a ring too.
What?
Game of Thrones.
So annoying.
The moon door. Toss him through the moon door.
Okay, yes. Ew, no. Goodness.
I mean,
no.
I hope it's not that, but who knows?
It's little Annie.
They have they have a lot of liberty. I don't think there's ever been like a written dialogue for Sauron, to my knowledge.
You know what?
So
I'll say this. I like episode 1. I was 7 when it came out, so I'm was predisposed to like it. I almost can now see why so many people might have been upset that this super dark, ominous figure, one of the greatest villains of all time in cinema history, just ended up being like, a little 9-year-old that like liked pod racing, because if that ended up being Sauron, I'd be like, oh, sure.
Oh my
Whatever.
God. What if Sauron is Nori?
Stop. No.
Are you kidding? We're talking about terrible origin stories for like, Anakin with the pod
Ooh.
racing. How right there, Nori
Nope.
is Sauron.
All right,
Or
but
Poppy.
Sauron's already
Or
in
Poppy.
power.
There's
Sauron's
no way.
already in power. He's already like the second.
Yeah, Nori can't be Sauron. No.
Deceitful.
The deceit.
No.
The deceit.
There's no way. No.
Can you imagine? Oh my
No.
God.
Man. People would riot.
They would riot. They
They
would
would
burn
riot.
down all
Yeah.
Amazon packaging facilities that have nothing to do with the production of this show.
Oh man.
Wow.
Dang, this is our prequel trilogy though. I'm excited. This is what I feel like. If I have this math right, the end of Star Wars episode 6 was 17 years before episode 1 came out, and now we are watching this series 19 years after Return of the King.
It's Lord
little
of the
different.
Rings for a new generation.
Yeah, definitely
Yeah,
for a
well-
new gen. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you don't
I
want
know,
to
it's
count
interesting.
the Hobbit.
I don't want to count the
What-
Hobbit. No, I don't. Just don't count it. It's
I
fine.
mean,
Exactly.
The Hobbit was our teen age years.
I mean, we mentioned it in the last
We
pod
did.
where it's like
There's
kinda
been a Lord of the
given us
Rings every decade.
every decade. For like every new wave, every new generation has had some Lord of the Rings to consume. I feel terrible for the people that grew up on The Hobbit. I'm sorry. Thankfully, we had Lord of the Rings and we had The Hobbit towards the tail end.
We
But
did.
yeah, I feel like Rings of Power is Lord of the Rings for like a new age, and it might get more like some people might not have seen the Lord of the Rings and they're watching this and they're getting into the mythos of the show and they're like, wow, I want to see these movies now. To me that's cool. To me that's cool because for me that's how it was with Star Wars. I never saw the original trilogy first. Like I always knew, there was episode 1, 2, 3, 4, and I was like, why would I watch episode 4 first? Well, I should watch episode 1, the first one. But as bad as those films were, that's as a kid, that's what got me into Star Wars. That the lightsabers and the battles and the Sith and all that. And then from that point on, I appreciated the original trilogy more after that. So,
And you know what's really cool? When they do go back and watch like the original Lord of the Rings, those effects still hold up versus a giant,
yeah.
Hold up.
right? Versus the giant generational gap in technology with episode 4, 5, and 6 and the prequels and the sequel trilogy. So
I'm actually curious though. We should poll like a 12-year-old and see what they think. Because I'm just thinking there's probably people who are our age, like late 20s, who are watching, the prequel trilogy and being like, yo, this stuff is garbage. You go back and watch episode 4. That thing still holds up. And then we would watch it and be like, why are their lightsaber duels so slow? I don't know. I'm with you. I think it still holds up really well, but I feel like only a 12-year-old can really tell us like if they think the same in terms of or if they see it differently. So
I'll ask some of my students. They're that age.
There you
I have
go.
a couple
Ooh.
of gentlemen who've spoken to me about Obi-Wan and Boba Fett.
why be a
So-
teacher if you can't do this? If you can't use your power for this, for exactly this?
I mean, if I really wanted to abuse my power, I would tell them the podcast name.
Have an extra credit question on every assignment. That polls this.
No. I have to get a written consent form from their parents
Oh, goodness.
saying they can listen to it. So I cover my tracks. But
Oh no, I didn't mean the podcast. I meant like just general questions. Like
I guess I could do that.
What
Yeah.
do like extra credit? Do you think the original trilogy special effects of Star Wars still holds up today? and it's a yes or no, and I have to be honest.
Oh God. Funny to think about. But goodness, I think that wraps up episode 3 of Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. Good discussion here. Again, there's a lot to tear apart as far as the lore, the mythos, the storytelling, and whatnot. Did you have something, Hooper TV?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, you know, I know we're closing out here. I had like some overall thoughts that were kind of like popping up as we were talking. And I think one of the biggest ones that I really like about this show is that, and I think the easiest comparison I have is actually The Legend of Zelda. It's like The Legend of Zelda. Each entry is, you know, at a different time period along the timeline, has like different characters, different story arc and whatnot. But each of them kind of like capture the ethos of what is Zelda. You know what I mean? Both in terms of like the characters, you know, you're going to have your green wearing pointy ear blonde man. You're going to have your pointy eared princess. You're going to, you know, usually have like races you're familiar with, even if they're a little bit different. And it just feels like that this show kind of did this a similar thing where it's like they're capturing the spirit of the Lord of the Rings, both in terms of like the music, kind of like the world, but also in terms of like the characters. You're getting your elf and dwarf kind of like relationships in this. You're getting your hobbit like creatures that are somewhat related to a grand adventure, and they're traveling with an older, taller, bearded man. You know, it's like not one-to-one, just in the same way no Zelda game's like the exact same as another one, but you know, they're capturing the overall spirit, and I think they're doing a great job, because it's like watching this, like it feels different, it's a different story, but it also just feels like Lord of the Rings, which is like, I don't know, that's like a hard thing to kind of like, I think, do well, and I think they're doing it well.
Yeah, I can agree. I think they're doing it well too. Just we're back in the world, and it feels like the world. It doesn't feel like something's missing. It feels right. I can get behind that.
Legend of Zelda is a good comparison.
Shoot, I'm waiting for the Legend of Zelda series. But
the like an actual television series.
I don't know.
Just wait. When Nintendo,
actually, I think there's something going on.
The success of the Mario movie will determine it all.
That is true. Chris Pratt.
Yes.
Don't fail.
Yep.
Oh boy. Yeah, good luck.
But yes, Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power. Catch it Thursday nights. Catch us here at the Yonkō Table covering the following day. Hey, be sure to follow us on all social media accounts, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We are popping on TikTok. Make sure you get on that TikTok craze so you can be part of the train and say you are always on. And again, if you want to join our discourse that you hear here, we are discording our Discord. I don't know. We're doing this every day in our Discord. So if you want to join our Discord, join our Discord on the link below and join all the fun. But without further ado, I'm Grandmaster Hoop, fellow Yonkō, DrJaceAttorney, and Admiral HooperTV signing off. Y'all take care.